why should a man date an older woman aside from just your shame tactics?
I mean, so older, so you're saying in this situation, so the man is the 19-year-old and the woman is the 30?
So in comparison to a younger woman. So
like someone their age.
Why should a 35-year-old date another 35-year-old versus, say, a 25-year-old or a 20-year-old?
I think so that you can have an equal.
Have an equal?
Yeah, you can have an equal. You have someone who, you know, can understand like your shared experiences. I feel like you guys are at the same stage in life. Someone who's 19,
mindset, kind of.
Someone who's 19, your age isn't, your brain isn't done developing. So it's like, I feel like you don't really know who you are. Yeah, you can give them children and this and that. And maybe, you know, a couple years from then you're like, fuck, you know, I don't know.
Well, then why do we assign those women to adulthood?
I don't know. The laws are put in place by men. So can you tell me?
Do you think we should wait until they're 26?
I mean, I think it would be wise to wait for everyone to be, you know, have their brain done developing.
Do you think that we should raise the age of adulthood to 26?
I don't think it's a bad idea. I mean, you have to wait till you're 24 to rent a car. So
yeah, so like, let's say, for instance, a 28-year-old then was having sex with a 23-year-old. You would call him a PDF file then?
No, I mean, like I said, I don't think 5 years.
I mean, that's the entailment, right? The entailment is if we raise the age of consent to 26.
I feel like you have that much in common.
To 26.
Yeah.
You can't consent until you're 26 because you're not an adult. Then you would be saying that if a 28-year-old was banging a 25-year-old, he'd be a PDF file. That's the actual logical entailment of that.
But when you're 30, aren't you looking for somebody to be like, want a stable relationship and be committed? A 19-year-old's going to be thinking about going partying and like not trying to.
Not necessarily.
Sorry, for age of consent, I thought we were talking about voting, not.
I'm sorry.
Sexual consent.
Can children consent?
No.
Okay, so if you want to raise the age of adulthood to 26, anything under the age of 26 would be considered what?
Non-consensual.
Child, right? Because they're not.
I mean, I wouldn't say
adult,
I wouldn't say a child. You're like, I feel like you're still an adolescent.
If you're not an adult, what are you?
You're an adolescent, I suppose.
Okay, so an adolescent. So they wouldn't be able to consent to sex. So 25-year-old, right, has sex with a 27-year-old. In your worldview of raising the adulthood, they would actually have penalties and be considered some type of creeper because they had sex with this not quite an adult at 26 woman. Doesn't that seem absurd, right?
I mean, it does. That's why I said I feel like a 5-year gap is fine, but 10 years is very strange to me. You know, like you have a whole decade on the person. That's just weird.
So how old are you? I
26.
How old did you say? You're 26. So do you think that we should consider you, if you were to have sex with a 25-year-old? Have you ever had sex with a 25-year-old at 26?
No.
24?
No.
Anybody younger than you?
No.
Male or female?
No.
Never. You've never had sex your whole life with anybody even one day younger than you, really?
Not that I can remember.
Really? Okay, whatever, fine. But do you really think that it's reasonable to say that they're 25 years old, you're 26, you had sex with them, and they couldn't consent because they're adolescents?
No, of course, I think that's fine. Like I'm saying, I think a 5-year gap for sex is fine. You know, in that case, age of consent, I mean, then I would say, like, you know, voting consent, 25, 26, I feel like sexual consent can be 5 years, past that. I would say 20 would be fine.
So a 35-year-old and a 25-year-old having sex, that's no bueno. Straight to jail for that guy.
I'm not saying straight to jail. I'm just saying, like, it gives me the ick. That's my opinion.
Oh, it gives you the ick. Okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, what if somebody was like, well, it gives me the ick if anybody around the same age is having sex, that gives me the ick. Does that sound reasonable? It's like, oh, that's like having sex with your brother.
We're all entitled to our opinion.
That's why I can't do younger guys, because I have a little brother. So I cannot.
I have a child. I don't want to be someone else's mommy.
But I also wouldn't date a guy with 20-year age gap, or maybe like a 10-year. That'd be a little bit too much for me. I'll stick to the 5-year age gap limit.
We stand on that.
Do you think that should be in any way criminalized, though?
No.
No.
Well, then if it shouldn't be, then you are saying that they are adults.
I just feel like they don't have that much in common.
You just personally, it gives you the ick. That's it. It's just right? It's just that from your perspective. There's like you don't actually have a problem with it. You just it's just ick, right?
I mean, I have a problem with it for my own like sense of integrity.
Yeah, well, how would it violate your integrity?
Because I just think, obviously the mindset and the values of a 19-year-old and a 30-year-old is completely different.
Yeah,
that's my argument.
I don't think I don't know why their values would be different. Like, what value difference?
But do you want to go partying with a 19-year-old every weekend like she wants to do, or you would want her like to not be going out and be more mature, level-headed?
Oh yeah. Oh no, terrible. So what you're saying is the guy's like, oh, you can't go be a whore, and you're like, oh my god, how could you be so controlling?
No,
like,
that's
don't you
not
want
what I
him to go
said.
to a nightclub and ride a bunch of dicks, Andrew? Like, what's wrong with you?
No,
Like,
it's
isn't
like
that what
that's
you're
the
actually
mentality of a
saying?
19-year-old, and like to go party and like enjoy her youth and stuff like that. A 30-year-old, he's over that. They've been through
You
that.
can also, I don't understand. Why is the only way to enjoy your youth to go to a nightclub, get drunk, and fuck
Yeah.
dudes? Like, why is that? Why
That's
is that
not my
how
intentions
a
when I go to the
19-year-old
clubs,
girl must enjoy
but
her
okay.
youth. Like, isn't that wild?
Yeah.
The best way for a 19-year-old to enjoy her youth is to go out to parties and get fucked.
Yeah,
That doesn't sound like it's the best, most
Not what I
optimal way
said.
to enjoy your youth.
No.
It seems to me like, okay, what if she was like, okay, well, I just want to be your wife for the rest of my life. And-
Wait, so sorry.
Then lucky.
So
Yeah.
can I ask you a question?
Lucky you.
Yeah. Yeah,
So-
sure, go ahead.
Your argument, just so I'm understanding, is that, it's better practice, you think, for women 19 to, what did you say, the child rearing prime is 27, to just stay home
roughly
those
within
years
that-
and raise
within that
kids?
group, right? You can argue a couple of years. You could argue maybe it's up to 29 or it's as low as 26. But I think that commonly, if you were to say between 18, woman's body, generally speaking, is completely developed, to 26 years old, they're going to have the easiest time with child rearing, child. Yeah, I think that's generally the best time, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, I can't argue with that. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
And also-
It
makes
was really
sense, right?
easy for me. Like,
Also,
Yeah.
just I guess last thing on the age gap thing, my own anecdotal experience. So I've dated women who are older than me. I've had age gaps in the opposite direction, where I think I was 32 and I dated I think she's 44.
How old are you?
45. I'm 35. Was there a follow up or?
for context.
Curious.
Okay, yeah. So when I was 31, I dated a woman who's 45. I've dated some other older women too. I think maybe not quite as big as that one, but like 33, 40, something like that. So, and then I've dated women my own age, plus or minus a couple of years. and
Ever a
I've dated-
19-year-old?
Huh?
Ever a 19-year-old?
Well, so obviously when I when I was younger, yeah. But no, I've dated in my 30s. I have dated.
How about you date a 19-year-old, then you come and tell us how it went?
I have.
Oh, okay.
I have. I've dated younger women, kind of around the spectrum. So my own anecdotal experience on this trope that women between the ages of 18 and 25, that they're like immature retards without a fully developed brain, is one, insulting to young women, and two, just not true from my own anecdotal experience. I think there's idiots at all ages. There's people that you'll have a terrible time with at any single age. And it does not make sense to me. Like, no matter what, dating is difficult. You're going to encounter like a ton of people that just are not a match for you at any age. My viewpoint on this, if you're like most men, here's the reality. We care a lot about looks. Younger women are typically going to be better looking. If you can get a younger woman, why not? I don't see
Props
what's
to
the
you.
Ball is
actual
life.
objection. And like,
I also think.
and
Can you
also
explain
wait,
this, Brian? Oh, sorry.
just one sec. And so, I mean, it's like, and also, I mean, I'm not trying to come off as superficial, but like, there's plenty of really cool, put together, younger women
Like me, for
in
example.
their early 20s, And just because they're young doesn't mean that they're pieces of shit or they're going to treat you poorly. In fact, I find the opposite to typically be true, is that they tend to be better partners. They're more pleasant. They have less trauma. They have less baggage. They have a lower body count. They're more physically, like, it's just like, how dare these men want to date women who are more physically attractive and have less relationship baggage and tend to be more pleasant individuals. Like, I just don't really understand this argument at all.
Well, can you explain the loaded? There's also, Brian, I've noticed this. I wanted to get your take on this for a while.
Sure.
What is with the loaded sexual language around it? Like, why do you want a woman who's freshly 18, right?
A teenager.
Freshly 18.
Teenager.
Right? A teenager,
Yeah.
freshly 18. But it's sexually loaded, almost like spoiled. That's what's so funny about it, right? Like it's something which has been spoiled. If you go in, you go, oh, well, they're fresh. Fresh meaning like, like how fruit is fresh, right? Everyone wants the fresh fruit. Nobody wants the rotten fruit. But the idea almost here is that, oh, you want them fresh when they're 18 and fresh. It's like, well, wouldn't you? Wouldn't you want them before they were spoiled? So it's like, to me, it seems like the language actually plays in your favor when women say that, like fresh, and freshly 18 is like, well, yeah, what do you want them? You want them spoiled at 25 then? If they're only fresh at 18, I don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, it is an interesting component. I mean, you brought up the high school example. But it's like, I think to myself, okay, well, what if there's like some really dumb 25-year-old is for some reason still in high school? I don't think it's so much the objection as the high school component. It's the age at the end of the day. But there is like a lot of shaming language. They'll often say like teenager, and someone can be 13 and a teenager, and 19 and 24 hours away from turning 20, and they're still a teenager. It is sort of this loaded language to try to, like, the spin, to try to frame it in the most unflattering light as possible.
Well, it's trying to make you look like a PDF, is what it's trying
essentially
to do.
Yeah, essentially.
Trying to make men look like they're PDFs because they're attracted to women who are younger, who are in their childbearing. But the counter to this that I've heard, and it is compelling to me, but I'd never make this argument, because even though it's compelling to me, I can't prove it, right? And usually I only like to make arguments I can prove. But I will say that the argument that I've heard that it's mostly women who are older are actually jealous as shit of younger women being able to get the men in their age bracket that they actually desire is the main motivation for why they're against age gap relationships. I don't know how to demonstrate that logically, so I don't make the argument, but it is compelling to me. So I wonder what you thought about that, Brian.
I mean,
and I saw a lot of women nodding their heads, right? You guys agree with that or disagree? Or?
I mean, a lot of older women tend to be jealous of younger women in their youth.
yeah, and the attention they get. So, I mean, you're not wrong. I think it's an interesting argument. Just never thought about it.
Yeah.
Never articulated
I do think,
it.
I guess one thing on this, Andrew, that is interesting to me is that I think men's attraction for this is not like even really fully up to them, insofar as like attraction is typically not like a choice. And what I mean by that is like there's just like sort of biological evolutionary things that people find attractive. And so, like, for example, I wouldn't, you can make similar arguments about like women like wanting to date rich men, but like this has a evolutionary biological basis. Women, like a man who has resources can provide for you and your children. That's the basis for why women will find men with like status or who are wealthy. They'll find this. It's not the only thing that you'll care about, but it'll be like something that'll make you more attracted to a guy. And this is just rooted in women's own evolution or like their own biology. You are attracted to men who are capable of providing for you, who have resources. And in the same way, men who are attracted to young adult women, that is also based in biology. Comes down to fertility.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. But the question I have too on the kind of jealousy front, maybe I can get your takes on this, right? The idea here just being, because Brian brought up control, and I like to think of it from the same aspect, is that, well, it's outside of your control now, right? So if men around your age bracket who have the resources that you desire, you want to be with them based on, let's say, those particulars. I don't think that men generally give a shit that much about women's interests. I know that women bring this up all the time. Like, what do you have in common with an 18-year-old? It's like, what do I have in common with a 35-year-old? What the hell do I have in common with a 35-year-old woman? They don't want to do fucking anything I want to do. They don't want to go out. You know what I like to do? I like to go out in the forest with a 357 and just randomly shoot rabbits because I think it's fun. They pop their head like a zit. I'm just like, bam, bam, and they just like drop, right? Women aren't into it. They don't care, right? Now, a buddy of mine might show up and he'd be like, oh yeah, let's do the walk, man. Let's do the whole genocide forest package. We're just gonna kill everything that walks out there. They're fine with it, right? They don't care. What do I have in common with a woman in my age bracket exactly? What?
Yeah.
Like, what is the thing I'm supposed to have in common with her that I don't have in common with a 19-year-old woman? I'd actually like to know the answer to that.